On this edition of Motorcycle Experience, our Lightning Bolt project bike gets a new track-ready filler cap, while our very special 25th anniversary Honda really starts to take shape. Then in South Dakota, we visit the site of one of the most productive gold mines in the Western Hemisphere, before getting a valuable lesson in slow speed turning and accessorizing your favorite set of wheels to fit your motorcycle lifestyle. As Motovan presents Motorcycle Experience.
Hello and welcome to Motorcycle Experience, the voice of motorcyclists everywhere. I'm Dave Hatch, and this week we're kicking off our show with a brand new motorcycle from the folks at Yamaha Canada. I'm not talking about this FZ9. Instead, we're going to sample their new V-twin bobber, the Bolt.
You know, I've got to hand it to Yamaha for coming up with the name The Bolt for their newest cruiser. Because when you get down to it, this old school kind of V-twin cruiser really is as utilitarian as a hammer, or in Yamaha's case, a bolt. At the heart of this bare-bones bad boy is a 942cc air-cooled, fuel-injected V-twin, mated to a 5-speed tranny and a low-maintenance belt final drive. Up front, the Back to Basics 41mm fork does sport a modern-day 298 single disc, while out back, the adjustable dual shocks hang with a 12-spoke cast aluminum rear wheel and another 298 single disc. Meanwhile, the classic-looking single Speedo actually hosts a pile of digital readouts, and the single vintage-style taillight is in fact an LED unit. So basically what you've got here is a modern approach to an old school design. As for the ride, one wonders, is that old school? Well, here's longtime viewer Mike Ferber.
So Mike, you're a Harley guy and you own a Road King, and I thought it'd be really interesting to throw this one at you because there's no hiding it. I mean, this is really based on a Sportster, right? It's a clone, if you will, of an 883 perhaps?
That was kind of my reaction when I first saw it. To me, it's actually a nicer looking one than the 883. And I've never owned a Sportster, but I've ridden a couple of them in the past.
Right. So what was the riding experience from an engine point of view when you were out there? I mean, my impression was lots of torque.
Yeah, lots of bags of low-end torque, I thought. Acceleration is good. I mean, it's a much lighter bike than I'm used to. I don't know what this weighs, maybe, I don't know, I think 500 pounds-ish, and I think the Road King's around 750. Mm-hmm. So it's much easier to kind of toss around a bit. Mm-hmm. And from that point of view, it was kind of fun. You know, it's a bike I think that would be great for a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there. I wouldn't want to be touring on it.
Right, gotcha. Well, I think that's what it's for. It's certainly for scooting around town and Sunday morning rides, right?
Yeah.
How did you find the shifting of the bike itself and the transmission, the clutch? It's a cable actuated clutch. What did you think?
I thought the shifting was really smooth, never any problems about, you know, mistakenly going into neutral or something, either going up or down or anything. Very crisp and very easy and very light too on the clutch, I thought, you know, so it's a very easy bike to ride.
How was it for you in terms of the riding comfort, the position?
The riding position it's the same. It's not totally dissimilar from the Road King. It's what I call the sit up and beg. Mm-hmm. Like long are the days since I would go back onto a sports bike.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's the luge position.
Yeah.
So I found it very comfortable. The seat was comfortable, and it's got, I don't know, some kind of a finish on here, so it actually your seat doesn't slide around.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the overall fit and finish of the bike?
I thought the fit and finish is pretty good. You know, it was pretty well put together. I thought, you know, the ergonomics of it were right. All the bits and pieces on it, I thought, you know, were a pretty high standard of fit and quality.
So who would you recommend this bike to?
I think if you're physically big enough, I would say even first-time riders could tackle something like this, because it's got a pretty low center of gravity, and that seat is pretty low too.
Sure
so
is.
You could probably be 5, 6 and up comfortably with a bike like this. I think it's got lots of power, but not an overabundance of power. So if you're taking a rider course or something and you're in your 20s or 30s and you're just getting started, I think this would be a great starter bike. I could see having a bike like this as a second bike, just for having a run around town kind of thing, and maybe up to Bancroft on a Saturday, and so but that's like a couple hours run.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be heading out to Nova Scotia on this thing.
Right on. Well, great job, Mike.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure, and it's been fun. Thanks so much.
Hang in there, we've got plenty more experience around the bend. Next, Norm and I explore Leeds, South Dakota, while world-famous airbrush artist David Arrigo takes a break. So stay with us. Portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Harley-Davidson, BMW Motorrad, and Triumph Motorcycles. Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Honda Canada.
Hang on, Peter. I got to tweet this out. Welcome back as Motovan presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now to catch up with airbrush artist David Arrigo as he comes up for air at the Toronto Motorcycle Show on day 2. But before we do that, let's catch up with Norm Wells and this season's ultimate ride. Today, we're in Leeds, South Dakota.
For this year's two-wheeled getaway, Norm Wells and myself have been exploring South Dakota. Our base of operation on this trip has been the outlaw town of Deadwood, South Dakota, and after a government shutdown spoiled our sightseeing plans, we moved on to Plan B, which as it turns out, wasn't a bad option, as the roads in the area were spectacular, and the secondary tourist attractions, such as the deepest and largest producing gold mine in the Western Hemisphere, turned out to be, well, just as spectacular.
Well, Norm, it's day 2, officially day 2 on our ultimate ride through South Dakota, and we're in the town of Leeds this morning. It was a little chilly this morning leaving the hotel.
Once again, but we went up 2 degrees today. We got up to 6 this morning.
Yeah, so it's October while we're shooting these segments, so layer up, man, layer up. And we found a place with coffee.
Load us up.
Yeah.
For whatever that means.
There's not a lot of coffee culture in South Dakota, let me tell you. But last night, this has been history, the opening of the Wild West. Last night we had a great evening in Deadwood. We actually found the cemetery and the tomb of Wild Bill Hickok, and that was very cool.
And his girlfriend was Calamity Jane. I think she's buried right there behind him or beside him or something as well. Yeah.
So it was really neat. We've been able to sort of check out the whole history and story of Wild Bill. We visited the hotel where he was shot, and then we got to see his grave. So that was really interesting last night. And then this morning, more history. You said this town is all about mining, right?
I mean, everything that's around here is all 1876, 1874, 1878, and this one obviously is 1876, and it was founded as a mining town. And Homestake Gold Mine was actually the mine that was here, and it's the oldest continuously producing mine in America, and it ran from 1876 to 2002.
Right.
And actually produced 40 million ounces of gold out of this place right here.
Wow.
Today's money, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and you can still tour the mine. I see. I saw the signs on the way in. So from here, you've promised us an amazing road. I see this Spearfish Canyon.
Yeah, it's touted in the local touristy books that I saw that this is one of the most scenic roads we're going to find here. So looking forward to heading up towards Spearfish.
And then ultimately, our destination today is the Devil's Tower Monument. So we're going to be crossing over into Wyoming, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Through Sundance, yeah.
So we've got a big day ahead of us. Lots of things to see.
Lots of things to see, lots of history again today, and hopefully, lots of good riding roads.
Well, I'm looking forward to this Spearfish Canyon Scenic Byway. Should be a good one.
Let's get
See you down the road. Be sure to tune in next week as we continue to make notes in our Ultimate Riding Tour diary. It's time now, though, to check in with artist David Arrigo as he continues to make progress on our 25th anniversary Honda Goldwing F6B.
To mark our 25th anniversary, earlier this year we approached a super talented guy who has painted just about every NHL goalie mask in the league, artist David Arrigo. And then we asked him to create us a very special coast-to-coast Honda Goldwing F6B. David said yes and even offered to complete the task at this year's Toronto Motorcycle Show. The only snag in the ointment was that in order for the bike to be painted properly, David asked Honda Canada to ship the Goldwing to his studio in pieces. So before starting the project, he never actually got to see the assembled motorcycle in the flesh, something he tried to rectify during the Toronto Motorcycle Show.
Yeah, I really wish I seen this 2 weeks ago all put together. What a beautiful bike this is. Now I have a full understanding of the way this lays out. I think I'll take a seat. Oh, yeah. Trying to see this thing firsthand was a deal on its own because trying to get up to Barrie, which was the closest dealer, it was just a nightmare because of the weather we've been having the last month. But we figured it out well, and I'm very pleased with the way the project's come along, and I can't wait to see it when it's all put back together just like this. This is gorgeous, this thing. We're a little bit behind. There was a lot of traffic today, a lot more than I anticipated, not so much with the amount of people, but the amount of people trying to just open up and discuss with me, which, you know what, we take it with a grain of salt. That's the whole part of the live mural experience. I'm not fretting over it. We're going to be able to bring back any pieces that are unfinished and do them up at the studio, but we will have the bulk of the murals done tomorrow, which I'm very pleased with. And everyone's been great about the pieces. They've been really impressed, and I believe that this is going to be a very good plunge for me into the motorcycle culture. So let's take a look and see what we're doing here. Of course, the front fender, this is where Mr. Honda is. And you have the leaves blowing open across the front of the fairing. They'll be running down the side of the tank here. More leaves over here. And this is where we're going to be finding ourselves on the west coast. More leaves blowing up over here. The trunk area is going to be sort of the accent of the Honda Civic, which will be there with the family planting the tree. And then over here to the east coast, and more leaves blowing that way. So it's going to be a complete 360 of a paint job, and this is going to be awesome. Now seeing this bike all put back together, I think I got to go back to work and get to work on putting our bike back together. This is going to be awesome. Now I'm pumped up and ready for the final hours of day 2 at the motorcycle show.
Now keep the rubber side down because there's still plenty more experience in the tank. Next, we look in on Project Lightning Bolt and take a turn slow riding with Canada's #1 riding instructor, Clinton Smout.
Yeah, so that button there is the one.
There?
That's
But I still got to write the message, right?
Yeah.
Welcome back as Motovan presents the experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now to head up to Barrie, Ontario to catch up with our riding instructor, Clinton Smout. But before we do that, let's stop in at Brooklyn Cycle Racing to see how we're coming along on Project Lightning Bolt. Rob, should I be concerned about that sport bike I've got back in storage?
Yeah, as long as we don't need parts off it, you're going to be fine. So
I feel sorry for this poor R1 tank.
we needed a piece.
Okay, what was the plan here?
Well, we're building a Cafe Racer sporty style bike, and it came with a kind of a cruiser style, big knobby sort of gas cap. So
Sure.
we thought we'd clean it up, make it look a little sportier, smooth it all up a bit. So we cut the top out of the R1 tank and grafted it onto the Bolt tank when it turned out not too bad.
Very nice. So that just that cap now just hides in there?
Everything flops in there, and we have our sport bike gas tank.
Cool. Obviously, everything is being fabricated here as we go. I noticed that this is now moved. You've changed the location of the Speedo. I can't remember how it sat last.
It was actually back in this area here, which again didn't flow with the lines, so we had to make a whole new bracket for it. And this is the Yamaha bolt fairing that we've had to adapt to the new front end, to the new height, to the new everything. So it's been completely modified as well. So now it's all fitted in place, and it's starting to look pretty good, I think.
It's starting to look like a race bike.
Exactly.
I've noticed now we've got clip-ons.
Yep.
And then this is kind of interesting, the upper fork tubes. How did you get that to work?
Well, what we had to do, we had to take the bracket off of, this is the stock accessory bracket from Yamaha that was obviously too small because of the front end change. So we've had to machine up some slugs that actually fit down over there and match the taper on the fork tube. So when they slide into place, they just stop right in the right position, lock on, and good to go.
Holy smokes. Did you anticipate having to do that?
We leave, everything's left in the open.
Trial and terror.
It's always up in the air. So it's, you know, the things that look easy, not so much. Things that look hard sometimes work out pretty good. So.
Okay. And this was an aftermarket piece, right?
That's from Yamaha. That's a genuine Yamaha accessory. It's actually a very nice piece. Fits the bike perfect. Fits our design very nicely. And the only hurdle we had to go through was just to build these slugs and extend the bracket to make it fit and have the headlight line up nicely and still have room for our Speedo and keep it all legal looking.
Wow. It's looking very nice, Rob. It's coming together.
It's coming.
Well, Project Lightning Bolt really is coming together now, but keep in mind, we're really coming down to the wire. In the meantime, let's catch up with our old friend Clinton Smout, Chief Instructor with the SMART programs, and follow up on last week's lesson in riding slow.
Clinton, this week on Shifting Gears, we're going to continue last week's lesson about how to maneuver in a parking lot.
Slow speed.
Slow speed maneuvering. We're going to move on from there to also how to turn at slow speeds, right? And one of the things I've noticed a lot this past summer watching folks at rallies is they're driving really slow, and they're not moving their bodies at all. They're just kind of locked on the motorcycle. They're not leaning the bike.
Frozen.
Yeah, frozen on the saddle.
My pet peeve at those same rallies is the rider who has both feet down on the ground, hovering or dragging them along.
Yeah.
Because my thought is if they do have to stop, what brake have they got left?
Right.
Only the front. It's waiting for a crash.
Right. So let's talk about riding slow again. We're riding slow through a parking lot, and now we want to turn in or make a turn out. So what is the best way to initiate that turn when you're riding so slow?
Well, because we have rounded tires, we can prove to you that when turning, if you lean your motorcycle in the direction you're going to go, it'll turn a sharper corner, an easier corner.
Right.
A motorcycle doesn't turn straight up and down.
Yeah.
Especially at speed. Now at speed, you lean off the bike in the direction you want to go. We can't really do that at 5 kilometers an hour because it's going to tip over. You have to put a foot down.
Right.
So what we teach and get people to practice in that parking lot, we were talking about the clutch and throttle, rear brake. Add this. How about counterbalancing?
Right.
Shift your butt off the seat to the high side of the motorcycle when you're leaning it in. And then your eyes are a big part of it, that you look the direction you want to go.
Right. So this is what I was getting to. You got to move around in the saddle, right?
Absolutely.
So part of it is moving your body off the saddle to counterweight, counterbalance, if you will. And the other part is moving your head, right? Turning your eyes and looking where you want to go.
Yeah, steer with your eyes really helps.
Right. So this is all good stuff. And again, we should be practicing this, right?
Exactly. Before you get to the mall busy parking lot, go to a empty parking lot and do tighter, slow speed, decreasing curves, both directions, because some people find turning right, the throttle's more into your stomach, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Make sure you're good at rights and lefts.
Okay, so we're counterweighting the motorcycle, we're turning our head, we're using our eyes, and last but not least, we're not dragging our feet.
Absolutely. Keep them up.
Okay, some great advice.
Our pleasure.
Thanks, Clinton.
All right then, stay tuned because next, Jen says it's time to go shopping for some accessories. Portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Harley-Davidson, BMW Motorrad, and Triumph Motorcycles. Welcome back as Motovan presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and let's wrap up the show this week from the garage with our chief riding instructor, Jennifer Martin. This week, she's encouraging you to spend a few minutes flipping through the accessories catalog.
So Dave, doing some light reading?
Yeah. Well, maybe wish list catalog. You know, I'm just looking at this accessory catalog from Harley-Davidson, and there are over 10,000 ways to accessorize your motorcycle. And then, you know, I'm looking at this particular bike, and I realize this is accessory, the exhaust is accessory, you know, all the chrome,
Yep, the handle
the
grip.
fork, everything. This
Yeah.
thing has just been touched everywhere. And somebody is certainly making an effort to personalize the bike. And I was thinking, that's a really cool subject. You know, once you get the motorcycle, it doesn't end there.
Nope, now there's so many different options for people to customize their motorcycles and make it their own, the unique statement, as it were.
Right. So certainly you could sit down with the catalog and start looking at accessories. You could certainly personalize a motorcycle just cosmetically to look better. You could change the paint and get right into it in terms of paint, chrome. But there are other things too that you can do that will just extend your riding season, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about, you know, you can get heated seats now, heated hand grips. Those are amazing. That extends your season for sure, as well as maybe starts our season just a little bit earlier if we want.
Yep, and then it extends on to windscreens.
Yep, your windscreens, there's different options available there as well. Your seat rests, you know, for the passenger as well as the rider.
Yep, luggage.
Luggage.
So now you've got a bike that perhaps you can ride away on weekends or overnight trips with luggage. And I guess the last thing really is you can get right down to the performance. I was looking in here, there's like engines, there's, you know, exhaust systems. You can do stuff to just increase the performance and have more fun with the motorcycle.
Yeah, the thing that you always have to be careful of there is make sure that you check with your local retailer.
Right.
You don't want it to impact your warranty. So, you know, those are things to definitely maybe go to them to get that done for you.
Right. So whether it's, you know, factory customization or your own personal customization, I guess the message today about hitting the road is the journey never stops. You can just, you know, as you grow into the sport, you can grow your motorcycle as well.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Awesome. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Let's get shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think that's been sent. Anyway, that's it for this week's program, folks. We're all out of time. If you're looking for more experience, why not head over to motorcycleexperience.ca right now and check out the after show. And be sure to join the Riders Club and enter our new open season contest. So till next week, keep your feet on the pegs and your right hand cranked. Bye for now.
Closed captioning of this program was brought to you by Honda Canada.
Hi, my name is Ian McKinstry with the Piaggio Group, distributor of Moto Guzzi, Aprilia, Piaggio, and Vespa motor products. On behalf of our company, we'd like to wish Dave Hatch and his staff at Motorcycle Experience congratulations on a fantastic 25 years. Here's to another great 25.